A man just came up to me, an earnest man, and made an observation that I think might be of help to us all, especially with you if you're with me for the first time. He said, I'm a designer, and about thinking this is. I'm a designer, and someone comes to me with a problem, that they want something designed for this problem. I have to think about it. And I said, no, you don't think about it. What you do, and this applies to any of you, you don't think about it. What you do is you look at the situation that requires your attention, such as the man he's got to make a certain machine, let's say, to do a certain job. Well, you look at that, and then you just look. You're not thinking, and as you look at it, up from me arises the inspiration or the right idea or the good idea, which may be a start or the solution to that thing, the start of the design. You haven't thought yet. You look at the situation again, you look at the idea that's come up in you, and you say, well, that seems to fit the situation reasonably. And then you look back at this again and you see what next is needed. And this is how, because this is how you look without thinking. Now, thinking is to think about the past. Our society doesn't know the difference between looking and thinking. We're a very sloppy society with our words and with our self-knowledge. So it's all crept in, like feelings and sensation have crept in together. Different generations, generation after generation, we just accept that feelings are sensations. And then we accept that thinking is looking. And when you start to be intelligent and address self-knowledge and the truth, you have to separate out those things and not be casual anymore. And you've got to be able to tell the difference between looking and thinking. Now, as I say, thinking is thinking about the past. If I think about my mother, that's thinking, because she's not here. She's not an action. She's not an action that's necessary in the future unless my mother doesn't have any money and she needs money because she's presented me with a request for money. I then look inside myself and see, am I going to give it to her? You know, you don't have to look really, it's there. And if you are in that movement to give her the money, then you have to look at your resources, your bank account, and look at the bank account and look at your own situation and see what you can spare or what you're able to do. You're looking. Now, if you think about how good she was to you and how you say you don't have any money and you think about how good she was to you, you'll get upset because you can't help her, because you get thinking about it, you get into a thought process and an emotional process. That's not looking. So when the designer, he says there's a good deal of, there's a distance between thinking and action. Well, he meant in our conversation looking and action. Of course there is, because you've got to refine what comes up as an idea you get. You've got to refine it, and you keep refining it, because the first idea is not necessarily it. It's got to be refined, and it's refined not by thinking, it's refined by looking. And that's how your whole life is refined, by looking, not by thinking. If you think about your life, you will get emotional, you will see that you're a failure, you will see that you're lacking in something, or you will see something negative if you think about your life. But if you look at your life without interpreting it emotionally, which means thinking, because to think is to interpret things emotionally, if you don't think and you just look, then you will sort your life out, as I've been teaching these many years, to get your life right. When people come to me for the first time and they hear about getting their life right, and they are earnest, I start to show them how to look straight at life and stop thinking about your life. Because while you think about your life, you'll never ever get it straight. You have to look at your life and see, what is wrong with my life? If you think about what's wrong, you go down and down into this morass of emotions and self-pity and conflict, and you don't know what to do. But if you look with the intelligence, which is what you have, then you will see the fact. And when you see the fact, there's a possibility of action being able to be taken. Perhaps you can't take it, but at least you see the fact. So that's direct thinking. Emotion is discursive, goes round and round in circles, and thought goes round and round in circles, whereas looking is straight. And that's how your life eventually must be. You must be straight. Otherwise life will twirl you round and round and round. Emotion push you around emotion.